Hey peeps, it's good to see you. I don't know if it's good to be seen. That part I can't decide. The camera makes me uncomfortable. And since this video is originating from my house, it's even more uncomfortable for me. But we're good. Everything's good. I'm still alive. No one's died. No one's retired. No one's decided to move back to Texas, at least not yet. All of these crazy conspiracy theories that you all have thrown at me in the last 3.5 weeks since I last hosted After Hours the night of the Super Bowl. First, I just have to say thank you so much because it's been really incredible to hear from so many of you. Man, the messages, the texts from friends and family, the calls, the tweets, the posts on Facebook, none of that has really slowed down. Even when I share a picture of a dog or let you know that my crocuses are blooming, you all respond in droves. And so it's been really neat to know how much the show impacted you over the course of the last 12 plus years. I appreciate how much you miss it. Many of you are asking me to come back. There is no way. There is no way I'm going back to overnights. Now, I will say there are benefits to operating as a vampire. For instance, grocery shopping is a lot easier to do in the early morning when it's just me and a bunch of shelf stockers, or late at night or on holidays, which is something I used to do before I got married. The traffic during the daytime is a lot worse. Scheduling appointments during the daytime and having to get to those. There are a lot of things that I would say are easier to do if you're moving around and operating at night. So there are some things that I miss about being a night owl. That being said, it is really cool to work on getting right side up and to be awake during the daytime and not have to rush the second I get out of bed to start working. That part's been really neat as well. So a lot of you have been asking me, what am I up to? It's not rocket science, actually. A lot of calls, a lot of meetings, some in person, some over the phone call. There have been a lot of appointments I had to catch up on. Oh gosh, chores around the house, lots of dog walks, as now that Flower's been with us for a couple of months, we've settled into a pretty good routine. Just life stuff, right? Which has been really cool. Oh gosh. One of the things that I've decided should be a full-time job all by itself is changing my last name legally. After getting married, now we're 14.5 months into our union, and the marital bliss includes having to change my name with all the various accounts that I have and own. They all want different paperwork. They all want different forms. In some case, they want you to actually mail some hard copy. So I've been dealing with the Postal Service or the Pony Express, whichever. So that's been taking place as well. And then one of my favorite, just kidding, it's not one of my favorite things about being married. One of my least favorite things about being married is you share getting sick. So the husband and I spent a good week and a half, first him sick and then me sick, but thankfully that's now in the rearview mirror. So before we get to our special guest, really excited about having him as part of our first post After Hours video, or I guess we could call it Memories of a Vampire, Memories of Two Vampires, actually. Over the last few days, a lot of you have been sharing your favorite memories of After Hours, and that's been really special to me. And so I've enjoyed reading them. Thank you so much for sharing those. I actually have some of my favorite moments as a vampire as well. 12.5 years. Changed so much as a person, changed so much as a radio host. Certainly, many of you have changed in the same way. Some of you listened for the entire 12.5 years. Some of you did not. Some of you just got the show at the very tail end and you still have no idea what's going on. But again, thank you so much for all of your responses to the show in the 3.5 weeks. And thank you for sharing your favorite moments and memories. And in order to help us go through some of those, we are going to welcome a special guest. I always told you that he was the much more popular one when we were working together, producer Jay and I. He was always the much more popular half of the tandem. You guys loved him the most, and he certainly did, make it a lot of fun. And look, I found him. He's still alive.
What's up, Amy? What's up, everyone?
It's the first time we've seen each other in
It is
8 months, 9 months.
about, geez, Man, I heard you were making a video, so obviously this is a place where I have to be.
Yes, of course, because videos were always your special area of expertise. Well, I was just telling people what I'm up to, which is grocery shopping during the daytime, which stinks.
No.
It's a lot better when you're doing it first thing in the morning. Lots of dog walks, lots of calls, lots of appointments that I had to catch up on. You're about 9 months ahead of me in terms of flipping your life right side up. So what are you up to these days?
So after about 9 months, I think I'm finally getting the hang of sleeping during the night and being awake during the day. It takes a little bit. It really does take a while to get back into the swing of that. But yeah, I think I'm finally there. I'm doing pretty well with that schedule. Everything's great. Everything's been good. Little freelance, little hanging out, little, waiting on my next thing, which might come very soon. But yeah, YouTube channels, just kind of everything's good. Everything's great.
What kind of stuff on your YouTube channel? I think the peeps might be interested in this.
Oh, yes. So maybe I'll put a link in the description for my channel. So it's a silly channel. It's just a hobby. It's called Bands That Suck. And it's not about bands that are bad. It's about bands that are bad together as bandmates. So just something that I do for fun nowadays. Just all's good, hanging out.
I feel like that's something that could happen in radio or in TV and media a lot, where you've got two people who might be really good at their jobs separate, but together, not so much. But we were not one of those. We were not a duo that sucked, actually.
No. We did not suck.
We were the best era of After Hours. And so I will just admit, the second you left, Jay, the show was never the same again. So lots of people have missed you and wanted to hear from you. So I thought that'd be fun to have you hop on. And as I was just saying, lots of people have shared their memories, their favorite moments from After Hours. We're calling this Memories of a Vampire, now Memories of a Vampire Tandem. And I know that you went through our social media to find a few. So whether you want to start with theirs or whether you want to start with yours, Producer Jay, what are your favorite memories of a vampire?
Well, let me just start by saying it was awesome going through the comment section again and reading out all my favorite comments and everything. That was great. So I have to start with this one. This one really caught my eye first. So this was from a Randy on our Facebook page, and he actually wrote a song to you about his favorite moments in the tune of Piano Man by Billy Joel.
No.
So I have to just sing, get right into it. I won't sing it. I'll do the best I can.
Oh, come on, you should. This is YouTube.
I'll do it in the tune of it. So it goes. Sing us our sports, you're our sports show host. Telling us on overnights. And we're all hoping all our teams won. Amy, you kept us feeling all right. So that was tremendous. That was an awesome job out of Randy. He also wrote from the chili to the lime chips and the island cookies and chubby bunnies. So he had a whole bunch of other good moments. But that song to the Billy Joel tune was just tops. That was awesome.
I would say that number one of the responses in terms of the volume, Chubby Bunny took it. People talked about how much they laughed, how they nearly drove off the road, how much they loved the videos, people remembering different members of the competition who nearly gagged and died on the air, Sean. And so, that was absolutely number one among the peeps for what they loved the most about After Hours.
I saw that. I saw Chubby Bunny so much. It was awesome. Let's see. Here's another one from a Sanyu. It goes, so many shows come to mind, but where you shine is whenever a major tragedy happened in the world, in our country, or to someone, and the way you took your time to give your input, your compassion and your empathy, and took long talks on those nights. So people really just like that you connected, how it just wasn't always, about the main sports topic going on of that segment. If there's something bigger going on, you weren't afraid to talk about it. And people really, from the comments that I've been reading, really loved that about the show.
As much as every now and then we would get pushback from people who would say, stick to sports, we just decided that no human being is that one-dimensional, where the only thing they ever talk about and think about is sports. And so we kind of got off the beaten path, especially post-pandemic. And I know you started working at the company during the pandemic and having to work through all of that. But even as recently as the Baltimore Bridge collapse, being on the air right after that, as all the news is coming in. And of course, the plane crash in the Potomac River. And those are the nights when sports just didn't matter. What mattered most was keeping people informed, but also letting people know that they were not alone in feeling all the different emotions on nights like that. And I really feel like that's where my journalism and news background came in, because if you're not equipped to handle something like that, instead you walk through it, you kind of bobble it, and you're not authentic and you're not genuine and you don't know what you're talking about, it can actually make things worse. So as much as we well, I'll speak for me. As much as I didn't enjoy those nights because we're talking about tragedy, either man-made or natural, I also understood those are the nights where a lot of people connected with our show too, because there was someone who was navigating it along with them. So I appreciate that.
For sure.
Any more?
Let me get one more in here from that. This was just another common theme that so many people wrote about, and that I honestly missed as well, and I missed it a lot for the past few months, is the Sunday night shows during the football season. It's just so many comments. So yeah, I mean, I honestly miss going back through all the games on Sundays too. Like they were great. They were as our promise to the audience. We hit every single game, and we always hit every single game. So yeah, I saw a bunch of those comments, and I resonated with that one too. Those were great.
Oh, good. That makes me happy. It's been 12 years, or it was 12 years of football seasons. And even though it hasn't felt like this yet because we wrapped up with Super Bowl and so another season isn't starting for a while, I definitely will feel it if I'm not doing something similar in the fall. After 12 years of every single Sunday being attached to the TV and taking the notes. And honestly, I will say those 16-hour workdays, Sunday into Monday, were bears. I mean, they were really difficult, and yet we got so much reward out of them. And they kind of built on themselves from week to week. So that was really cool. Okay, I've got a few. Hall of Flame. This comes from an Atlanta listener. Hall of Flame was always my favorite segment. That honestly is my favorite as well. The fact that we could, induct a member of the sports community for something ridiculous that he or she said, where they just completely lost their minds, and it turned into great amusement. So we love to laugh on the show. where all of the Hall of Flame inductees were preserved, to be sure. Let's see. Couple of other ones. Donna, she's a big fan of Matt the Musher, and honestly this was a really popular answer as well. Matt the Musher. She also mentions Mello in studio. Now you weren't there for this, but I would say Michael Duarte of NBC LA was probably one of our most popular guests that we had. He was in studio during the World Series, and he brought his dog Mello, who was
I saw the show. I was like, no,
it was so good. And also she mentions the shows with producer Jay were the best, which of course I agree. And then she talked about our interviews with guys like Kurt Warner, and I would throw in Ron Rivera and all the various Hall of Famers that we spoke to over the years. Our partnership, of course, it got us to Vegas for Super Bowl week, but our partnership with Rudolph Foods and Southern Recipe Pork Rinds, that was also really cool as well. So do you have a favorite moment or memory from After Hours?
I said a bunch of them on our final show. I have a couple more that I even remembered from since then. So one that I gotta say, it's not a funny one, but it's when Stefan called us. Stefan from South Carolina, and he was the soldier who was stationed in Afghanistan, and he said how he would listen to the show with everyone who was there, and that was his way of connecting to home and being close to the U.S. even though he was so far away. And that phone call, that moment, that's just really honestly resonated with me since that happened, because obviously we had a purpose and a meaning, but it just made it just feel like, wow, like people really care like a lot about this. And it was just an awesome moment, like to make them feel better knowing that he's so far away, just to see the show's reach like in action live. It was cool.
And to know that overseas we could be a piece of home for our men and women who are serving in the military. We always tried to thank whether it be veterans or active military servicemen and women. That was something that was really special to us. So we really appreciate hearing from them when they got home. That was awesome. Well, I know that along with Hall of Flame, something that I never expected is going back to the early stages of After Hours, where we instituted Ask Amy Anything. We first started it was Saturday overnight into Sunday. And then when we moved to the 5 nights a week, we moved it to The Hump Show, another After Hours creation. And we would do it same segment, third hour of the third show every single week. And outside of a couple of stretches where we were transitioning from one producer to another, it was the longest running element of After Hours. And I'm always blown away that people still had new questions. So Jay, I saw this on our Twix page, the Ask Amy Anything, where the question was whether you'd want to fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses. He said, let's see, this is Jim. I almost drove off the road because I was laughing so hard. Oh my goodness. So that was a Jay creation. He called it rapid fire, and he added it to Ask Amy Anything, and people would send in their suggestions. But I still do not know, A, why you thought that was a good question, and B, how to answer the damn question.
Do we don't have an answer yet?
No.
I've been thinking about that one since. So, and I don't know. That was a silly one. That was funny though how that worked out. The rapid fire. People would send in rapid fire questions too. I'd ask them all the time. Yeah, that was a blast. Like I said before, when I was looking through this comment section of finding these like moments and memories, like going through the Ask Amy comments section every night or every hump show was awesome. It was one of the best moments of the show.
Well, I appreciate that. That was so much fun. And to that end, Jay and I decided we're going to do a 2-part series, and we'll do one more video version of Ask Amy Anything since it was so popular. Now, I don't know, Jay, do you potentially need these?
Oh, wow. Look at those.
Or the video version of Ask Amy Anything? So Jay leaves the show last July, 2024. And the next day, I go into my locker and there's his headphones.
Thanks for holding on to them. Maybe I'll grab them sometime. We'll have to meet up.
Absolutely. So Jay has not only agreed to do an Ask Amy Anything video version, but because he has all the software and he's way better at it, he's going to edit these videos down as well. But also one more thing, we, as many of you know from watching our YouTube channel, did a video, I would say probably 2.5 years ago, to open a box.
Oh, they still look great.
Yes, it was a box from a listener who had actually had t-shirts made for After Hours with Amy Lawrence. And they honored Penny, one of my favorite sayings on, let's see if I can bring it closer.
There you go.
But be the person your dog thinks you are. This is a good look for me, don't you think? Anyway, so we have 2 t-shirts left, Jay. Actually, we would have 3 if Jay would return the one he stole, but he refuses.
Oh, so I wear that every night.
And based on the best questions, most creative questions, we will send out 2 more t-shirts. How about that? Isn't that pretty cool? It's so good to see you, Jay. Thank you for being our special guest.
Good to see you too. Can't wait till the next one.
Woo!